And for those of you that thought the Chiefs were done or that we were going to get to do this on time, well, hey, we have another thing coming for you. The Chiefs have traded up to 162, and they are on the clock right now. Looks like the pick is in. It's interesting to see who they are going for here. And at 162, what they did is they gave up 175 and the 207 to go up to 162. So they still have 181, two selections here in the fifth. And it's going to be an interesting stream. So let's see what they get done here. Dan and Danilo will likely be back here in a minute. In fact, Dan just jumped in. So, we didn't get much of a break, did we?
I was right. He did end up trading up. I didn't see the details. Do you happen to have them at all?
Yeah, they gave up the 207 to go from 175 to this 162.
Okay, so they'll have 162 and 181 still?
Correct.
Okay. So are we going to stay from here to 181 probably?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. That's what I figured much.
And folks, maybe we'll do what I had set up as the last pick stream. Maybe we'll do that later this afternoon after we all get to take a little bit of a break.
Now Dan, we're going to dinner, so unfortunately that won't be including me.
Well, and I was just recording a hit for Locked On Now. Folks, you can hear all this stuff at Locked On Chiefs, and my light is not actually correctly set up. So, Dan, tell me who you'd like to see here as I go fix this.
I mean, I don't even know who this is going to be. What do you trade up for here? Maybe it's a corner. Maybe it's like I said with Jamar Johnson-ish area. Maybe it's a wide receiver. Maybe they like Powell. They saw, I believe it was Smith-Marset go off the board already to the Vikings. Maybe they're trying to get in front of some of the Washington football team to get a wide receiver. I'm not sure what they're going to do here. It's not really unprecedented, obviously, for Brett Veach to trade up, but he's got me confused on this one. So
it's a challenge. Brett Veach will keep you on your toes, and I like that. And quite frankly, this reminds me of last year when they wanted to get out of here. Here's Andy at the podium. Noah Gray, the tight end, coming at you. That's Duke. And I think he's going to be an interesting group. And Andy looks really happy about this.
Man.
That tells you something about where Andy saw this guy in particular. Where do I have Noah? I need to go look. I have him as a mid-7th round pick.
Yeah, I didn't have him that great either. I don't know if I had him up on my list, actually.
It's always a challenge. But I will tell you this, that at this point, whatever they're doing is likely because they're hearing things about other interest, and that's perfectly fine. When it comes down to that, that's what you want to do, because you want to make sure that you're getting in front of all the other teams. Now, I'm going to go pull him up on the matrix, and we're going to take a look at his production and his athleticism.
Yeah,
and Danilo made it back in too. So no rest for the wicked there, Danilo. What do you think of this selection?
Noah Gray, I didn't look enough at the guy, to be honest, to be quite honest.
Fair enough.
It's one of those guys. I'm going to go take a peek at him right now and give me a minute of zone out, and I'll come back to you.
But at least we understand that the position was addressed, right?
Yes, indeed.
Dan, what do you think?
Well, one thing about this is I think we're seeing another type of a tight end who's probably not going to give you a lot in terms of blocking, but he's a smooth mover. He's got sure hands at the tight end position. He didn't drop very many in his career at Duke. He's got some power in his move. He's got wiggle. Like he's gonna bring some athleticism and a guy you can line up in multiple places, like an actual H-back. I think that's what they want to use him for. This is like a John Levitt replacement.
I really like what you said there. Brandon Brown, welcome to the memberships. Want to get that out of the way. So this is Noah Gray in the Matrix. And for you who don't know this, you can always grab the Matrix at rogueapc.com. It's all in here. And it's funny you mentioned drop rate because that's one of his best things here.
Yep.
And as these are ranked amongst the class guys. So he's top 6 in the drop rate. He's top 5 in Air Force. And what that means is either forcing missed tackles or winning at contested catches.
Yep.
That's what this is about. And I feel like this is more, I mean, his athleticism, he's top 10. It's the change of direction that I like. This is a guy that can run out of the H or run out split, to tell you the truth. I like him out there.
Yep.
And I think he can take advantage of some mismatches and get himself the easy passes underneath that maybe we don't see Blake Bell doing and we don't see Nick Keiser doing. I actually like this. Is he as fast as I would generally like? No. But he's got good change of direction, and he's got the long speed that I think they're looking for. At the end of the day, he was at the Senior Bowl. Did you happen to watch him there?
I didn't, but I got his pro day in front of me. He ran a 4.6, so it's actually pretty good for a tight end.
Mhm.
His 10-yard split was 1.6, not explosively explosive. Got a decent vertical, okay, broad. I mean, 15 bench press, but he's, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a pick for the Chiefs, kind of giving someone you can replace with Travis Kelce, in the sense that they love that 3x1 with Kelce on the isolated side in that reduced split. That's perfect for Noah Gray, because he's going to get off coverage in that sense, and he can do a lot of things at, like you said, the catch point and making guys miss and get open on his own. So that's kind of what this addresses for me in that sense, and definitely lining up as an H-back is going to be in his future. I'm almost sure of it.
I'm really excited because whether this pans out or not, this is I read this as, especially when you look here, not only the change of direction skills, but the long as well. 4.6 is faster than Travis Kelce tested. That's good. The 1.6 is right on par with that. So I feel like this is not a let's bring a guy in and ask him to crush down as an inline Y. This is another somebody that they feel fits what they want to do in the passing game. And hey, what have we all been crying about for I don't know how long?
I mean, a 5th round pick as a tight end too is not exactly what I was talking about. But okay.
Well, I just mean in terms of fitting the offense and not being another,
sure.
block only kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
Stevie, I'm glad you updated us on Tim Tebow playing safety for the Raiders. Very good point. And thank you, Stevie.
I remember this guy now, and just he looks fine. He doesn't jump off the tape at me.
Yeah.
Very much like Dan said, H-back wise. I haven't seen, I've been off and on, but I haven't seen Yeboah go yet. And if Yeboah's there and we took him instead, I'm disappointed. But I mean, you got to trust in Andy Reid and those guys. It feels like if he's going to be a move guy and he's going to be H-back more than anything else, he's not going to be a true H-back in my opinion, in the sense that I like H-backs that can like crush your face mask too. If they need to be, they can line up in the backfield and all of a sudden it's not a route. It's my route is through you and I'm blocking for the running back. I don't think he's necessarily that guy, but great hands. If his hands are great, I mean, he gets open. He's not a big, when he's gotten deep on the stuff that I saw before, and I looked at the same video, it was already in my queue. I didn't realize it was like 3 months ago. A lot of it is blown coverage. I mean, sometimes that's the receiver made that happen. Sometimes it's not, the DBs just don't know what they're doing. Sometimes they get fooled. And it seems like if he's at Duke, he's a smart guy. So, and that's key for tight ends. Tight ends are like linemen's little brothers. It's like we felt like, playing tight end, we have to be as smart as the fat guy next to us. And they're the smartest guys on the team, aside from the quarterback. So, hey, man, it's a tight end. It's a weapon. And you know what? He doesn't have to be that great of a blocker because he's probably going to be lined up next to OBJ.
Exactly.
Well, and I'll give you this just for a little upside. He tested well and above Kenny Yeboah in terms of athleticism.
Yeah.
So if you love Yeboah, at least you can understand that they're going for more upside athletically. So, and what you saw from Kenny was a plus. What?
It was just funny because it's really kind of not close in terms of Kenny is more of a I'm going to run you over or run by you kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Noah's like, I'm going to make you miss.
Love that.
And I do like both in terms of what they bring. So I definitely see the upside because the way Kelce moves is maybe what they're trying to replicate in this sense, because he can take the ball from just about any angle, pivot back the other way, and use his athleticism to create space when it's not usually right there. And maybe they see this as a possibility with Noah because he is a bit more athletic in that sense, and he's going to try to make guys miss in space and create more after the catch. So maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
What I wish it could be is if you have a blend of two guys, the tight ends that I watched, the guy, and I told Ryan this last week, the guy that I watched because I was forced to look at all the tape because my board got blown up because I messed up. I ended the wrong space. So I had to get back down that rabbit hole. And the tight end I looked at 3 months ago, I'd forgotten about, was Poljan from Virginia, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, when I watch him run routes, and obviously it's his highlight reel, it's not all of his tape, but you watch the highlight reel, he is the one, like Dan said, he moves. He looks like Travis Kelce at Cincinnati. He got me as excited as I did when I watched Travis Kelce at Cincinnati. The knock on him, unfortunately, is the antithesis of the bonus of the guy we did take, and that was inconsistent hands.
Yeah.
And that's a deal breaker for me. I mean, that's That's rough to take. You don't want receivers that drop footballs because then they're defensive players. They're stopping your play.
That is tough.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, he's a smart guy. He's from Duke. He can move. He looks a little. He just reminds me of a semi-pro wide receiver. That like it kind of looks like that kind of. It's not as natural. His movements don't seem as natural. But you know what I mean. He gets open. Who cares? He gets open. He catches the ball. He doesn't put it on the ground. And I saw at least 4 or 5 takes just in a quick clip there where he reached over guys' heads and pulled the ball off their face. So I like guys that can go after it.
This from Matt Derrick, who just texted me. He is on the pressers with the scouts. He believes that Veach has just drafted someone that fits the mold of what they've done before. And he did this just to egg me on, John Lovett 3.0. So, hey, yes, I will take the H. Have I been crying about an H for like 3 seasons at this point, right?
Yeah, that's funny. That's exactly what he is. I mean, they wanted to get that with Lovett. It just didn't work out. He got injured. Maybe he can keep this up and not have to worry about that.
Yeah. Jake, you can go back and watch the stream. It was a little too long for us to recap the whole thing here, but I think we're all on the positive side of what Kano brings to the table athletically. But he has a ways to go in terms of development. So I don't think it's a bad pick, especially on day 3. I think you take what you love, and they love what he is.
Some high upside picks.
That is for sure. Mr. Gooch, you're back as always. I appreciate that. Is Gray the tight end too? I'd be the.
I'm assuming he means of the future.
Yeah,
looks like it's supposed to be.
I can't read very well. I don't fill in blanks. I get Kelsey doesn't get injured, but he's 31 and a ton of mileage. Absolutely. And does this draft mean we're going to actually call 12 personnel? We can hope.
More 21 with Gray as the fullback.
Yay! I'm down. I'm down. And here's the thing is I think what he shows athletically is that he can line up in that, try to get him into a base defense, and then he can split out. Yep. And that's exactly what you want to do. So I think it's a piece. I didn't expect it to be Noah Gray in that role, but that role is exactly what I've been wanting. So that and Michael Burton, I think, is going to play some of that as well. He has lined up all over the place in his career as well. Hate to see Sherm go, but I like what Michael Burton is coming in his replacement. Yeah.
Can we get some blocking tape analyzed for that guy? Because I don't have any tape of him hitting people, and I want to see that 6'3", 240. I want to know that the guy can really be that guy because, I mean,
if you can find Duke all 22, more power to you. I'll watch it.
Right? Because, I mean, if we're looking for a guy that can catch decently and not be Travis Kelce, but is going to smash people, I was all over the Michigan man, Ben Mason. I'm like, that guy's just sick. And then if you want to come back and get Travis's replacement next year, you get Isaac Rex from BYU. The kid was supposed to get a few reps here and there. Bushman got hurt in front of him. He has a slow start the first couple of games. Then he goes on to get 12 touchdowns and be a big part of the reason Zach Wilson's numbers went off the charts. Yeah. That kid's going to be for real.
Yeah.
So look out for him next year.
Jerry Bergman, thank you. Are we doing a draft? Are we going to draft a CB now? Your guess is as good as ours. Keith Taylor just went, who was the guy that had the length that was still left in the draft that I thought they might like. Keith has some trouble in short areas, so I can understand why they probably passed on him. Athletically, I don't think he's up to their par. I'll be real interested to see what they do here, though, because, I mean, where are we now? We're coming up around 13 picks. We're just going to stream all the way through there, folks, unless my child gets to go compete again, in which case the boys will take over.
Do you have a few corners right now lined up there, Dan?
I don't even know what the board is right now, to be honest with you.
Right. Check I'm going to open up NFL.
I'm all at a loss right now. I'm trying to keep up with this.
I think the NFL tracker is pretty much on point. I'm going to go take a look real quick.
I will bring up the boards here. This is Dave Brugler's Beast,
Brown's
by
still
the
there,
way, folks.
Shakur Brown is still there, it says. But then you have Mukuamu here, and he's been drafted, right?
Who's that?
Hasn't Mukuamu gone already?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so he's there. Shakur Brown's still there.
Yeah, they're all still there.
I like both those guys for their roles on this roster. Let's see. What else do we have?
Jacoby Stevens is still on the board.
There is that. I forgot. I don't know if you take Jacoby on top of Bolton, though.
No, I mean, they're kind of the same guy.
Right,
Wild Goose is still there.
Yep. Okay, so you
Mr.
have ultimate
Quick
speed
Feet.
there.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are really big on Damar Hamlin is playing a tweener role. I'm not sure I'm super huge on it, but if Sean Wade's already off the board, why not Damar Hamlin? I don't know.
Trey Williams is still there too.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh,
Those are the
Yeah, I
big
like that.
safety types.
Mr. Longbody.
Zach McPherson went a lot higher than I thought, just so you guys know. Chris Wilson is a pretty good athlete out of BYU at corner as well. Let's see. There's always little Neiman. Actually, I think he's taller, so big Neiman. Little brother, big brother, I don't know. Shelvin went. Chris Tonga's out there. I don't think they go that. They could go back in this area here, you guys. They could go back wide receiver now and get another French type, put him on the practice squad, get him going forward maybe. Jason, thanks for the super chat. We have another from Brad. Oh, you're welcome, Brad. That was easy. Man, I didn't have to do anything for that one.
Oh, thank you.
You're the man, Brad. Appreciate it. Let's see who else has questions okay. A lot of good chat in here, you guys. You guys are doing great.
All
and
right.
I appreciate the fact that you guys are having conversation, listening to us at the same time. It's refreshing to have other opinion come through and not just ripping us apart, because it is opinion on all of our parts. So
Yeah, pretty much.
we do have to remember that sometimes. Let's see here. Nate Hobbs just went to Illinois. I do want to check the positional on if I can get it to scroll.
What are we doing?
I didn't see Hobbs going this high either. I think I had him as a UDFA. Yeah, I don't think he's on my board at all.
I was about to say, I don't know who that is. So
Yeah, no, Illinois corner. Yeah, I didn't have a draftable grade on him, so that's interesting as well. But this also reminds us of what happened with Bo P. Keys. I don't think the Chiefs even had a draftable grade on him either. They wanted him as a priority free agent. Couldn't get him that way, so they had to trade back up in to get ahead of all the teams that they were competing against. And so that's what it comes down to. That's my board. Let's take a look at DJ's and see if he's got anybody I haven't considered. Elijah Griffin, I don't remember him being on my board either, and I think it is because of the injury concerns.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Dan,
his dad's also a hip hop artist.
Oh yeah,
Who's his
that
dad
helps
again?
on the field.
I can't remember. No, I just that's the big talk about him. But that's why I went and looked. I'm like, is this guy any good? At just talking about him like that? And he's pretty good, but then he's got injury concerns, so he dropped down my board a lot.
Did Cam Bynum go? Yeah,
he did.
He
They called him a safety.
Oh, really?
They called him a safety. Yeah. I like Trey Norwood's ball hawking skills, but he's got some injury concerns.
And he's not the athlete that Trey Brown is. Of the two, you got to go Brown, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kari Vincent's out there as well.
Brown's gone though, right?
I don't know. I'll have to check. Hold on.
Yeah, he is.
Where'd he go?
He went to Seattle.
Trey went to Seattle.
32 in round 4.
So Shakur's out there. I don't know that there's any reason to take another linebacker. So I wonder.
I'd be totally happy with him.
At this point in the draft, it's got to be somebody that can play teams as well. So I think we are looking DB or wide receiver are the likely choices here positionally. And I think I'm getting notified of something. So I'm gonna let you guys. No, this is a family thing. So I'm gonna let you guys chat a bit. I'll take the screen share.
Go this
down,
way and then go that way. There it is.
Right. Hey, and I'll bop out of here for a bit. You all see what you think.
This is an interesting. I do like the trade up. I mean, I know they would just go and get their guy. I wasn't expecting it to be a tight end, but here we are in the 5th round where they go up and they get one. So I guess that'll stop everyone complaining about what they care about tight end, right?
Zach Davidson.
I like Zach Davidson. Man.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's. I was putting my board back together the last couple of days because it got obliterated. And it was just resisting the urge to go look at tape of guys that I hadn't seen that had gone in the draft. So I didn't do that. I'm like, I'm not going to put anybody on there that I didn't have a draftable grade on because either I watched them and they didn't pop or I didn't watch them. I'm not going to put them on my board if I didn't see what they could do just because I had to watch them a little bit. Some of the guys I watch a few minutes and it's just like you dig deep. And Ryan is typically a dig deep guy. I like to go look at the highlights because there's so many guys and try to get deeper in the draft because what the highlights tell me is he's put something on tape that he can do. And if he's done it once, with full-time coaching and this is his job now, he probably can do it again. If I start looking at what's supposed to be your best tape and I'm not wowed pretty quick, I'm out. It's like doing as an actor, you do your acting reel for footage for auditions and jobs. You put big stuff up first. You put what film you were in that was big. You put TV shows that everybody knows, and then you pepper in other smaller stuff, independent films where maybe you had bigger roles, and then you put some commercials, and you put another big film where you had some lines and stuff like that. If you're showing me like high school and college films that your friends put together for like a minute and a half, I'm out. You should put your best stuff first, and some of those guys just didn't pop for me, and that's where UDFA's come in. So
and I feel like this has to be wide receiver, but again, I've just been wrong the whole time about what they feel about wide receiver. So
it makes sense. It makes sense that either wide receiver or corner but both positions, interestingly enough, are positions where guy's not starting.
Yeah.
Guy's going to be in the mix. We'll see what he can do. Maybe he develops into something down the road. So if you're going to go that way, why not get a huge impact player on special teams? And again, you're a Michigan guy. What are your thoughts on Ben Mason?
Dude, I would have loved to have them draft Ben Mason, but they just decided to take their H-back already.
But he's a different guy. You know what I mean? I
don't see them taking a tight end and then a fullback / tight end in the same draft. That doesn't scream anything remotely close to Chiefs.
Right. But give him to Dave. Give him to Dave.
Oh, I know.
And I mean, because there's been a number of times watching our games where good teams, great teams, don't forget that it's a 3-legged tripod. Yeah. It's offense, defense, and special teams. And if you don't have a couple guys that are special on special teams, and Anthony Sherman was special on special teams, he was a leader in that group, and they need a guy like that. And that kid's just he just screams Sherman 2.0 from the look to the attitude to the everything. But bigger Sherman. It's like he's like the 2021 Mega Meal version, So I mean, it's just the point is they have latitude. They can go anywhere, really.
Yeah,
they could go interior line depth if they wanted to do that for young guys, because some of the guys we have coming in this year are going to be great, but they're not young, Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see which angle they take to fortify. The Texans are up. What did you think of the Davis Mills pick?
Oh, that's 100%. Hey, guess what? We're probably not going to have a quarterback to play in the next 2 years, so let's go ahead and draft one.
I'm like, he went up so many people's boards, and I'm like, I understand he was a great blue chip player coming out of high school. What has he done since then? I'm sorry, what have you done for me lately, league? The not for long NFL? Taking a guy, it's like, well, people go, well, Matt Castle was drafted. Matt Castle was drafted in the 7th round. Matt Castle wasn't drafted early, and he wasn't expected to start anywhere, and it was a nice surprise for a little while. And then he was kind of like, okay, he's, reached his cap, and that's all he's going to do. Davis Mills, I'm like, he made more out of a pro day, I think, and his pro day wasn't amazing. It was good. It wasn't great. I'm just amazed that he went so early. I felt there was a lot of reaching. I felt like Trey Lance was a reach where he went. I like the athleticism. I like the ball strength and skill. But the level of competition, it's like certain players, it's like the NFL will pound the table. Level of competition matters. And then certain players, they just fall in love with. They go, I don't care. It's like this guy.
No, I
he just looks like they fall in love with him, and that's it. So, who was your biggest surprise?
I mean, it was Travis
Etienne. First 3 rounds. Etienne.
Travis Etienne. It's a ridiculous pick. You don't need it. I understand you want more speed at the running back position, but just take someone later. You have James Robinson. You don't need to basically get rid of him.
That blew me away. I was just like, the guy had a 4.5 yard per carry average on a bad team.
Yeah,
that didn't get to run the ball enough because
1,400 yards.
I'm like, it makes no sense. It would be like us taking Michael Carter, who I like, but it's like we already have 2 5'8", 205-pound running backs.
Yeah,
we don't need 3. Pick somebody different. That's a place I thought they could go to, but the guys I liked have kind of come off the board now. The bigger difference maker backs.
Yeah,
I did look at a few bigger backs later, like this when I was doing my redo, but they were all slow. I'm like, I don't want anybody slower than Darryl. Darryl's not slow.
No,
but Darryl's not
fast.
What you mean. Yeah, I don't want anybody slower than Darryl, and there's a lot of slow backs this year too. So we're getting close.
Yeah,
we're 170.
Unfortunately, I have to go to
trade
a
up again.
Zoom with
All
my
right, man.
family. I'll
Go
be
get
back
it.
as soon as I can be. My brother's doing a gender reveal, so I gotta go.
Are
do
you
that.
Are we closing this link and reopening, or what are we doing?
I'll just leave you in charge. Ryan should be back. You can just
Okay.
keep going.
All right, I'll stay on here with you guys, with the
I'll be back
fandoms.
whenever I can, guys. So I'll let you know.
Let's go into the chat. I'll go into the chat. All right, Dan, we'll see you in a bit, buddy.
All right, thank you.
I'll keep it running. Let's look into the chat here real quick. Gray, that boy can catch, says George Prieto. Okay. All right. I mean, he's not bad. And we are later in the draft, so it is what it is, right? Stevie Keys, Danilo does great off the cuff without a script. That's because I've been an actor for 20 years, Steve. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Somebody in here said the other day, I noticed when I was looking in on you guys running my show, they said, hey, Danilo, you look kind of like this guy in a Geico commercial. I am that guy in the Geico commercial with the goldfish. That's me. That's why I look like that guy. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed the we're going to be rich. I hope you guys like that. It was a lot of fun doing that spot. We shot that in Northern California. Thunder Dan is in control. Thank you. Hayes goes to the Ravens. Yeah, I liked Hayes a lot. Just the injury concerns. Has David Moore already gone? Well, let's take a little peek real quick. David Moore is. I am a true diehard Chiefs fan. I'm not here just because it's football. This is my team, baby. The guy in the Glad commercial, the trash can. No, it's not me. Sorry. Do you guys know the Johnsonville Brats commercial with the two guys in the truck with the meat on the back cooking? It's called Regular Speed Chase. I'm the guy with the mustache that sits here and goes, yep, that's me. They're already, come get them. They're all ready. That's me. I'm that guy. Thanks, Aaron Todd. Thanks, man. Let me check. What is it? David Moore. That's the Grambling Center, right? I don't think so. But like I said, I've been locked in on the draft as much as I was the last couple of days because we've been doing this back and forth thing. So, but let's take a quick peek here. I only have one page here of centers. They don't have them listed as a center, or they don't have them on their list, which is, there's been a few players I've noticed the NFL hasn't had on their draft watch list, which is kind of weird. I'm like, if I have them rated, why don't you have them rated? Maybe they have them listed as a guard. I thought I saw him in here. Oh, there we go. But David Moore. No, he's not gone yet. I like him, but he's kind of like the Dan Salimua of centers. He's really short. Yeah, I'm surprised Forsyth isn't picked as well. I bet you Dan would say the same thing. Thanks, Cole. I appreciate that. Yeah, we get in there and it's like Trey Smith. I like Trey Smith. Avery Fleming, TJ Vasher. Here's the thing, Jonathan Holcomb. Jonathan says TJ Vasher isn't blazing fast, but he's 6'6". I think he has a lot of upside. TJ Vasher is faster than you think, because I don't care what they said his 40 time was. I've been through that stuff with semi-pro football and stuff like that. And guys sometimes don't get a good start, whatever it takes a step here and there. Some guys don't run well in practice, and then the game, it's different. Jerry Rice was like a 4.65 guy. You see a lot of people catch Jerry Rice from behind. The thing I like about TJ Vasher is he was underutilized. He didn't have Patrick Mahomes, even though he was at Texas Tech. He had a bunch of other guys after Patrick was long gone. And he's the first guy, to be fair, to be honest. I mean, I used to watch football tape for fun after I retired from semi-pro football. And then I started doing this stuff, Cupfield, 3 years ago or so. TJ is the first guy I've seen, and I'm not saying he's the guy, but he's the first guy I've seen that does Randy Moss-like things since Randy Moss. Like, it's ridiculous. He's every inch of 6'6" and change. He's really long. It's like got spider monkey arms. He's so long. And he makes just people look like children trying to cover him. It's ridiculous. And he's as fast as he needs to be. So I had to talk about this with a friend of mine who I played semi-pro with for years. Will Thompson's out there. Hey, Will, how you doing, buddy? And he was like, speed's overrated. I said, well, slow guy to slow guy, because I ran like 4.6 and change at 2:35. I said, slow guy to slow guy, tell me why. I like that idea, but tell me why. And he said, because the DB is not going to run a 4.3 if you're running a 4.6. He's got to stay with you. And if guys are in your hip pocket and they're 5'10" or 11, and TJ Vasher is 6'6", 215, I like his chances in a jump ball or even just a reaching up ball. So we'll see how that goes. Our own celebrity. Yeah, hardly that. Working actor. A lot of us actors don't make a lot of money. Thoughts on Terry late here or Dylan Moses from Nate Wood? I'll give you a one-word answer that encompasses both guys. Yes. If you want a two-word answer, yes, please. Either or. I would take Tamari and Terry. I would take Dylan Moses. Either or of those guys. I like them both a lot. And UDFA-wise, if either one of those guys are there, I want both of them. Seth Williams will be the best wide receiver from this. I don't think he's going to be. I think he's all right. I'm not as low on him as Dan is, but he looks fine. Like I watched his tape. He didn't wow me. One guy that Dan doesn't like, I always look for comps. I always try to see who does he remind me of. And I went back and I watched Sage Surratt, and I'm like, he just kept making plays. He was like where Seth Smith would make a play and then get tackled, he would get away from them. And I'm like, who does this guy remind me of? And I looked at his size and his measurables, and I watched his tape. He looked like Eric Decker. And Eric Decker did fine in the pros. So he's an interesting player. Any idea who the best pure athlete left is? Interesting question. I mean, at a position that we need at corner, Wild Goose, Rashad Wild Goose, and his feet, man. His feet are so quick. He turns and goes, and he doesn't lose stride at all. Like, he's a guy that will be really frustrating because he'll backpedal as fast as you can run forward, and then he turns with you when the ball goes up, and he's in your hip pocket waiting. So, do I like all the picks? I love two of them. I love Kando late in like fourth or whatever, and I love Creed Humphrey is amazing that we got. And the fact that here's the funny thing: I had Josh Myers as my top center for the longest time, and then I was looking at Creed a little bit, and then Ryan told me, "Oh, you got to look closer at Creed." And I looked closer, and I'm like, you know what? He's right. The more I looked at him, the more I liked him, and I listened to his interviews, and I liked his attitude, country strong, wrestling background, all that good stuff. And Creed surpassed Josh Myers in my eyes, and Ryan went the other way. And then the draft comes up, and the Green Bay Packers take Josh Myers right before we take Creed Humphrey. So I was just like, yes, we got one of them, and we got the one I ended up liking a little bit more, but not. I mean, it's one of those situations where I would have taken either of them. The more I look at stuff on Nick Bolton, he's growing on me a lot faster than Clyde did. Clyde took about a month or so of looking at stuff before I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were just asking, who do you think the best remaining athlete is, Ryan?
Who the best remaining athlete? That is a great question. Let me pull the matrix back up because what's happened the last few. Thank you for holding it down, by the way. You're doing great.
Cheers, man.
Let's see who else is gone. LeCount went. Wallow was a pretty good athlete in the matrix. Slayton's not.
Dylan
Lenoir was all right. Dylan who?
Dylan Osick has one there. I had Dylan on the show last week. He runs Chiefs Draft Network over on Instagram, and he's got a guy in his mind that I like that Dan doesn't like. Marquez Stevenson. And I get the injury concerns. But he's come back from both those injuries and played really well after them. The biggest concern I have with Marquez, where he took a little dip on my board, was he did come in. There was a discrepancy. Is he 5'10"? Is he 6 foot? Is he 5'10"? He's 5'10" as of last measurement. I'm like, again, I got to stay with my own rules. I don't want any more shrimps. No offense. I want some longer bodies. Tamari and Terry, Trevin Grimes, if he's healthy, like guys like that. Give me somebody that can do something different. TJ Vasher, I'd love as a developmental wide receiver because he is what I think they hoped Jody Fortson would be.
Right.
He's just, oh, man. Anyway, sorry, I'm kind of taking over like it's my show or something.
No, you're okay. And that's what happens when you get to run the show. So you did great. I appreciate that.
Well, that'll happen when you do 4-hour streams with the Chief fans and they keep peppering you with questions. So
absolutely. Let's go back and look at the matrix, and we'll take a look at who is left. Overall matrix. Let me get this wider here. Let's see. So Josh Edelman is the best athlete available at the wide receiver position. Now it isn't the straight line stuff as much. He has the leaps. He has certainly, I think, the explosive numbers. I'm going to pull that here as well while we're looking at this. And yeah, I mean, his explosion, his leaping, I mean, over 11, and he jumped 46. I mean, higher than Chris Conley. That tells you what it is.
Injuries, though, I'm worried about his injuries a little bit.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing with Siemens, right? Like, everybody at this level has some warts. And for a fifth round receiver, you can understand some injury concerns because they're filling in for somebody else too. So I'm perfectly fine with that. And hopefully, a professional training room and training table as well. There's plenty in there. As we go down the list, who else is left here? Shi Smith has not gone off the board, I don't think. Let me check that.
Avery Fleming brought up a fact that it's kind of poignant. He said the best wide receiver left, in my opinion, that no one will talk about is Dax Milne. And I went back and I watched Dax Milne tape, and I'm like, hey, man, he could be this generation's Ricky Prohl. That dude can play some football. He's a smart wide receiver. He knows how to get open. He knows how to – he's not slow, but he's not fast, but he's fast enough, and he knows how to make DBs go the wrong way. And speed is a double-edged sword. If you can get a DB to swivel his hips the wrong way, spin him like a lazy Susan and cut the other way, you're 7 yards away from him like that.
Yeah.
That's how smart players get open. So
I will say my issue with Dax is the fact that, he's not quick. His change of direction didn't come out well either. So that combined actually dropped him out of the top 30 for me. That's why he's not in the matrix. So that means something. Jonathan Adams is still in there as well. Racy McMath is a guy that I keep coming back to because I went back and I watched Senior Bowl film the other day. And it's like Racy had a couple of nice plays there. He's not Chase, obviously. He's not even Marshall. But as the third receiver in that offense, he has some big plays. He plays all four special teams. Like, he's a guy that reminds me of Marcus Kemp that I think the Chiefs might actually like.
Okay, I hear that. Let me ask you this question. And they talked about him earlier in the chat while you guys were gone. Knowing what we know and what we've spoken about and the rumors we hear about the dysfunction at Florida State and how that affected the players, Tamarian Terry is still on the board.
Yeah.
And I watched him after you guys got me to go watch Terrace Marshall. I was like, wow, I really like Terrace Marshall. And I went and watched Tamarian Terry, and I was like, if this guy was at LSU, this guy would be a cross between Jefferson and Marshall. This guy would be somewhere right in there. It just with a better quarterback and a better situation.
A build-up guy. Like, he has some explosive plays, but there are a lot of plays where he does build up. And I don't know if that's insecurity with the route tree of knowing where he wants to stem to, or if it's just general coaching, like you said at FSU. I think the big thing about Florida State right now is it's not 20 years ago. Everybody's a question mark that comes out of that program, and I think that's a problem.
It's true. It's true.
Brian Strange, welcome to the memberships. Glad you made it. Mark Lawrence, any chance they could draft Chris Olave? Yeah, in a year. He won't be out until next draft cycle.
There's a couple guys that went back too. So
right.
And here's 55. Is it a 55 roster now instead of 53? Is it not?
Well, they haven't announced whether they're going to maintain the 55 like they did last year or not. I'm kind of waiting for that. And more importantly, I hope they keep the 16-man practice squad, because that's where you can really get some development.
For sure. Have guys.
What happened to Dan, by the way? What did I miss?
He went to do Zoom with his family, so I just kept it running rather than shutting it down and having to do a new link or anything like that. There was a bunch of people in chat. I'm like, why am I going to close the door on people that want to talk football? Because I'm a junkie.
Well, he did just text me. He's not going to be able to make it back, so it's you and I for the conclusion.
Cool, man.
And we're just about to where the Chiefs were going to pick. 175 is on the clock, so we have 181 coming. I don't think they'll move out of it again.
I'm going to take a look at corner really quickly and see if the guy I'm trying not to think about, because I don't want to put it out to the universe that he's still there. He's still there. Shakur Brown is still there. He's a guy I was late to the party on about 3 weeks ago. And man, just ball hawk, and more ball hawk. And I'm like, if you're going to get a guy that's going to be just one of the guys, and he can play slot and he can play outside, but in slot, he looks faster than Fenton in slot. And I like Fenton. Fenton grew on me a lot. Fenton is a go-get-it. His attitude is like, it's not Tyrann Mathieu, but he's a little more of a dog than I thought he was going to be. So I like that about Fenton. This kid looks faster. And, I mean, just learning behind those guys. Dan and I were talking, Ryan, what do you think? Wide receiver and corner are a position where we could go. But both positions, there's not really a position of need. The guy's not going to start. You're going to probably look at, would we go more to like somebody that's going to be a huge impact to the – and I know how you feel about the run game, and I do. And Dan, even though he's a Michigan guy, he felt we're probably not going to do this. Somebody like a Ben Mason, because it's like, here, Dave Tobe, here you go. Here's your skull crusher on kick coverage, on punt coverage, on returns. And then, oh, by the way, he can be our third tight end when we got that guy that's – if you put him next to Orlando Brown on the left side, Orlando Brown, Ben Mason, and Joe Tooney, it's forget it. You're going to run through everyone on that side, or even worse, put Ben in the backfield as a single back on short yardage and goal lines. It's a wrap, dude. He's not getting bottled up. We don't. Hey, Clyde, take a drink of Gatorade. Ben's got this one. What do you think about getting a special teamer now?
I would have liked. I love Ben Mason's game, and I would have liked to seen him. And I think the Chiefs could have gone it if they didn't feel that Noah Gray was going to play that H, because that's where I think Mason really shines in terms of what he'll do in the pros. Yes, the special teams, but I think you have to have more than that. But there's two guys here at the Matrix that really stand out to me that have not gone in Chris Evans and Jake Funk that are that breakaway get out, and it's tough to catch them. Nobody's Jamal Charles, but two guys in this class outside Ken Inuego who went a lot earlier. Those guys are late day guys that I think could maybe give you that over the top punch in the running game, possibly.
I haven't seen Jake Funk's tape, but when I watched Chris Evans, I was just I was painfully underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I expected
by
a lot
contact
more.
balance. Was that it?
Contact balance, lack of that next gear that you need at the next level. It's just and obviously nobody's Jamal Charles. That's crazy. But I'm I'd take Larry Johnson, and he didn't have Larry Johnson's juice either. I'm I wanted to see more because he was so highly touted by a lot of pundits and stuff. And I went over and I looked at Ben. And I was like, wow, Ben's great. I went over and looked at Kwity Paye. I like Kwity Paye. I didn't love him the way some people did because he looked like a monster on some plays. And then other plays, he was Emmanuel Ogbah year one. I'm at Cleveland, I'm where's the get off? Where's the motor all of a sudden? You know
he doesn't punch it enough. He has to really have, I think he's a visual runner. And when he has the vision of an open lane, then he gets to his top gear. And otherwise he really doesn't. But the interesting thing about him is he has great change of direction as well. He actually topped out in the short area quickness in this position group. So if he gets caught behind the line of scrimmage or he's out, running off tackle, I do feel like he has the ability to cut. And again, just add something they don't necessarily have right now.
He could be, what's his size?
Evans?
Yeah.
A little over 5'10". Let me check. 5'10" and a quarter. 204.
If you would have said 215 or 220 at least, I would have been okay, maybe 204 at that height. I mean, he's smaller than Clyde. Yeah. Really, he's taller.
No, I'm sorry. I read the wrong line. That's Jake Funk.
Okay.
He is 211, and he's 5'11" flat.
Okay. I mean, I'd feel better if he got up to 220.
Yeah.
Because then he could be like our Leroy Horde, to quote John Madden.
But that's why we have
Leroy
Daryl,
Horde,
right?
You need a yard, he gets you 3. You need 3 yards, you need 5 yards, he'll get you 3. Daryl's our guy to do that right now. But Daryl's getting a little older. His contract's going to be up soon. Didn't they give him for 1 more year now? So Daryl's not going to be around much longer.
True. And you can always get younger at this position. George, this is Danilo DiGiulio, also known as Thunder Dan. That's why I put our names back on so everybody knows. Yeah. Gooch, thank you for the super chat as always. That's a big one. I'm not a film guru, but I didn't watch OU to get Creed as smart and allowed no sacks, but it looks to me like he struggled against long arm power DT. Will this be a bigger problem in the pros protecting PM15? Here's the thing. You're right. There's not that many long-armed noses anymore. So that's not that big a concern. The bigger concern for me is when he gets that shaded one to one side, he's great with his feet. But when a guy's already got the edge to his shoulder, does he have the power to re-anchor and not get turned and let that guy through? That's going to be the challenge. That's what happened to Creed at the Senior Bowl. And I know that that's a coaching point. And I know that he has the power because he's a former wrestler, and I've seen him manhandle guys. He just doesn't do it consistently. So I think that's going to be a coaching point. I think that's something he's going to have to grow into. But you watched him too. What did you think, Danilo?
I liked his recovery on those plays you were talking about. When most of the time when that does happen, his recovery is really good. He gives himself a second chance. He kicks his feet, he moves his feet, and he goes, "Oh, you got me that time, but how about now?" He gets that second little punch. He's got a really good punch for a center. And I mean, the thing I love about him is just he's my IHOP center. He goes to IHOP on all you can eat Pancake Tuesday. He gets a pancake and he goes looking for more pancakes. He does not take a second off during a rep. He is that guy that I'm telling you, I can't sum it up any better. That if you guys watched Varsity Blues, that's what that kid that played center would grow up to if he didn't have an abusive coach and everything else.
The
He
one
would
that
grow up to
scanned
be
his
pretty much
cat, that one?
the one that shot his trophies over a
I
bottle
can
of whiskey.
play. They done scam
know,
my cat. It's
you
all
know.
right.
Yeah, this kid. I mean, there's the more I watch him, the more I like him. I mean, the country strong, country tough, dirty tough. They
Mhm.
call him. The fact that his coach Lincoln Riley, think of the players that he's had on his roster. And he said, this is legitimately the first time I've had a center where I would put him amongst the guys I consider game changers in my play, in my team. Calling your center a game changer, that's high praise. And it doesn't hurt that Orlando Brown said, thanks for bringing me over. Y'all need to take a look at Creed.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that does make an impact because when you have experience with a guy and you know how he functions, now they didn't play next to each other because Orlando was a tackle at OU as well. But when you understand and you're in the room and you're in the lineup with the guy, you understand how that works. So, Gooch, I would say go watch some. I have some all 22 of OU. We'll be using that. I'm digging out more all 22 on Bolton. We'll see what we can find on Kando. I had to watch some broadcast on him. I only got one tape of all 22 on FSU. And that was, I don't know, that was before I got my latest source. So maybe I can find some more. So we will see what we can do. Ryan Strange, thank you for the super chat. New member, you are the man, and you've been here a while. I know that. Already asked Dan, but would like to hear your take. Who's the best pure athlete left? Okay, so that's what we were talking about. I do want to check real quick with the DBs.
See, here's the difference between, while Ryan's looking, I just want to make a statement. Here's the difference between Ryan and I. Ryan has empirical data because he does his analytics and he's got this stuff. He's got his science manual of athletics. So he's coming from a position of knowledge based on measurables, and that's huge. Mine is all based on, I don't care what other people that I don't know besides Ryan have said about this person's athleticism, because people said Brady Christensen wasn't a good athlete and all he did was blow up the offensive tackle measurables. What I look at is the tape, and I've being a former semi-pro player for 10 years, when I watch tape, I see guys and I go, that guy couldn't have made it at Syracuse in my day when we had Marvin Harrison and Donovan McNabb and like a stellar team. We had a great team. He would have been a backup. Or this guy's like, he's good but not great. Like, they don't pop. Like I said, I watched the highlights. You guys, Ryan and Dan, go way deeper dives. They watched all 22. If the guy doesn't pop on highlights, I'm not going to dig deeper. These guys know the guy's inside and out. And I mean, it's a matter of, like, that's why I like Wild Goose, because I haven't seen a ton of his stuff, but everything I saw was great. And his pro day matters. Pro day matters. It's like, if your pro day, you look like a monster, but your tape, you look like, if you pro days Tarzan and game tape is Jane. I'll have a banana and wait for the next guy. Thanks.
The only problem is when you only see highlights and you make your first determination on that, you don't know how many things he's doing wrong. Like, there are some guys that have really good plays and then they totally blow others. It's not just, he wasn't targeted in a play or something like that. So it's tough sometimes.
But that's what I have you for.
I know. No, I get it. I get it.
On the juxtaposition of that, and it's like, and the mentality that I have is, especially when we're talking about late draft picks, not first, second round, but later ones, like I did on my draft crushes. My whole thing is, if I've seen the guy do it before, what's he going to be like with full-time coaching? Doesn't have to worry about classes, doesn't have to worry about finances, and all he's doing is living, eating, and breathing football. If he's done it before, he definitely can do it again. Now, can he do it consistently? That's where coaching comes in. And I mean, when we got the coaching staff that we have, we're like, this is some rare air.
Looks like the Niners took Hufanga from USC as safety, and the Chiefs pick is in. This is their last pick of this draft. We were going to see.
Is it Powell?
Happening. I don't know.
You spoilers in the chat. Is it Powell?
Yeah, maybe
that'd be awesome.
Maybe somebody's ahead on the stream. I don't know. The best athlete available was Jason Pinnock until a couple of minutes ago. He is not any longer, so we're going to see what comes up here. James, I'm going to get your question before I see the pick is in. Any surprise June 1st cuts that we could see? There's a couple of theories out there. I'm not going to address them now because it's pure conjecture. Let me get a read on the scouts' takes before I give you that. We'll do that probably on Monday night. So everybody, if you're new to the channel, like, sub, click the bell, we do Q&A on Monday night. We'll address it then. The pick is Cornell Powell from Clemson, the only receiver who actually showed up to run Trevor Lawrence's pro day with him. And there's a reason for that. I will tell you that what I have heard is that he's the most trust of the wide receiver group from Trevor Lawrence of anybody, and that's why he asked him to do it. So that is a solid piece. Bruce, thank you for your super chat. Appreciate it. Just tuning in now. What do you think of Kendo and Gray, and who am I grabbing next? Well, with Cornell Powell off the board for the Kansas City Chiefs, it gives you that tweener guy. I'm going to pull up his matrix, but what did you see from Powell that you liked, Danilo?
The biggest thing I saw was, first of all, he jumped out on tape in the playoffs. I mean, that's if you're playing great in the biggest games against the best competition. That's why when people were dropping on Najee Harris and Trey Sermon, I was like, y'all are crazy, because when they're playing the best defenders in the country and they're blowing them apart, that's a guy that can play at the next level. With Cornell Powell, is it Cornell? Yeah, Cornell Powell. He wasn't a starter. He didn't get starting. He didn't get really used as much until Trevor Lawrence went down for a minute, and then he just proceeded for the next 6 games to average 120 yards receiving a game. And I think that's part of why he was at the pro day, was because Trevor Lawrence got a chance to see him in the games instead of just in practice. I don't know what's going on in practice, but I know from playing for 10 years, some guys in practice, you're just like, this guy looks like he lacks focus or what. Some guys just don't get up like they should for practice. And then game day, it's like, who's this psycho? And they're just like, they're going 100 miles an hour and doing everything right. And maybe Powell's a little bit of that guy. I don't know. But he proved down the stretch that he's right there. And in the Senior Bowl, he was no slouch. So
yeah,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. At this, exactly. At this point in the draft, he is a value. I want to see, let's see. Dan had him higher than me because Dan loves him, and that's fine. Where did Dan have him? He had him somewhere crazy, like the 4th. Yes, Dan had him in the 4th. Where did I have him?
Where did I have him?
I have him at the bottom of the 5th, exactly where the Chiefs are taking him. DJ had him.
I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Doesn't look like you had him on your board.
Oh, I did. If I didn't put him back, go up because you're down by the 5th.
You had him in the 4th. Good Lord, both of you guys.
Yeah.
You people are insane.
I had him above De'Ami Brown until Dan just kept pushing De'Ami Brown on me. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And I still was like, you know what? Based on production, I put De'Ami Brown ahead of him. But ceiling, I was like, I don't know, man. Powell looks like he could be something else. We'll see. I mean, he could be one of those guys that's just a guy, or he could be. I don't think we're gonna have the drop problems we had with DeMarcus. No offense, but
right.
I want to see more consistency. And as hard as I am on DeMarcus, sometimes he's got a better catch rate than DK Metcalf. For all you people that want DK over McCole Hardman, big and fast is nice, but if you're dropping the ball, you're a defensive back.
Yeah,
so I'm
that
very
is part of the problem.
Particular about receivers that can't catch. I don't dig those guys.
Well, here I want to show you guys where he comes in athletically, because we were talking about who's the best athletes left, right? So as we come down here, this is the wide receiver group. This is the master matrix. So this combines everything into the final score. And as you come down, it's funny that you mentioned De'Ami Brown because he's right below him on the scale, above Tutu Atwell, above Josh Palmer, above Seth Williams, Grimes, Terry, a number of guys that we've spoken about. So that's where he falls in.
Tylan Wallace, your guy Cade, they're all kind of in that. They're all kind of in that area,
right?
Not surprised.
It's not at all. I'm trying to see where he scored production wise. This is always harder to dig out because this is based on what you did. Right. And he was not near the primary target. I think he was pretty low down.
Yeah.
In fact, he didn't make the metric because
he wasn't really a starter per se until the last 6 games of last season. So that makes sense.
He should be right here. Did I pass him? Oh, yeah. His production dropped him out of the profiles as well. I will tell you that. When I take a look at his production, his ranks came in lower down in the 20s. So that's just from not being the primary in his offense.
Yeah. Do you look at now, Ryan? Do you look at like production per games played, per reps taken, or do you look at?
I combine it all.
Time there.
I have 5 major metrics for every position.
Okay.
2 of them are career per games played, and then 3 of them are seasonal per snap or per target, depending on what the metric is. So I try not to just take the last season a guy played and wrap it all in. I look at his career as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that way you get when I do my master matrix of production, it takes all that into account. And it also, I do this on purpose. A lot of people complain about this, but by doing it that way, it also takes out how much you're not on the field. So if a guy only played 5 games of his, senior season, he's not
Right.
penalized because he was injured.
Right,
Now,
right.
the injury discussion about how much time he misses becomes part of the equation, but it's not in the metrics because it's not measurable in terms of, how many targets would he have had? That's all conjecture
Sure.
at that point.
Yeah. I think that he could be the college version of Joe Horn, what Joe Horn was for us, where the guy was on the team, the guy's an NFL player, the guy was great on special teams, but we didn't really get to see what he could do. And he goes to New Orleans and is a Pro Bowl player. And it's just like, this guy was on our bench, but everybody got it revealed to them. Cornell Powell actually can play football. He actually can be an effective, in a group that's already built out. He can be a special player. And he was actually faster than Amari Rodgers, which, I mean,
No.
I think Amari Rodgers is more jitterbuggy than he is.
Exactly. Change of direction is there.
I think he and Amari are kind of like Newsome and De'Ami Brown on UNC. I look at Newsom's tape and it's all this. It's all that quick stop start, go this way, go that way.
Mhm.
I don't know what his measurables were, but on game day on the tape, he was the guy that did all that stuff. And De'Ami Brown was, okay, it's route tree time. Who's going to run the route? Who's going to burn the DB? Who's going to be a smart receiver? De'Ami Brown's number got called, and that's why his numbers were so good, because it's just a better receiver.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you this too. This is not to say that Cornell Powell's a bad athlete. He's not. If you don't make the 7-year average guy, you don't make it into the matrix. So he's there. He's not grossly above the 7-year average, but he is above it. So he is a viable player in the league athletically. We'll see what he
Oh
does
my
route-wise.
gosh, no.
Oh, what, Mason?
To the Ravens?
Yep.
Ben Mason to the Ravens.
So if you thought they were going to rely before, they're going to run down everybody's throat now.
Oh my gosh, dude. Patrick Ricard is going to be a free agent.
Yeah, that is a very
good
point.
chance. There's a good chance.
Avery, thank you for bringing this back up, because I had 207 as the last assigned one. I forgot that they had gotten one back in the trade, so we do have another one coming, but it's what is it? It's a good 40 picks away. We have quite a ways, so I think at this point we're probably in a good space to stop this one. We'll come back on a few picks before that one, which is 42nd in the 6th round. Now, maybe we shouldn't, because now that I say that, they might just trade right back up. I don't know.
Sure. I'm game to stay on a little bit more if you want. It's up to you, man.
Well, I've got I
know you got
daughter's
stuff.
about to compete in another event,
Yeah.
so I need to get off either
Do that.
way. So let's do that. And you want to keep it rolling for a while, feel free.
I'll keep rolling for a few minutes and then just send me the link for the next jump on. Good luck to
Will
your
do.
daughter.
Thank you. I hope so. Oh, wait, you're not going to be able to end the stream. You know what? We'll just cut it off. Folks,
Okay.
There'll be another link coming out here soon, and then we'll both jump back on.
All right, guys. Oh,
Thanks,
BS.
guys.
Just wanted to let you guys know right there. See the balloon behind me? That's for me and Dan right there. My family gave me happy birthday balloons and a bunch of red balloons for the draft. So that's for Dan and I, if
Nice.
Dan sees this later.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
All right, guys.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
See you later.